The women's 4x100 meters relay is the most unforgiving sprint event in athletics, and this race was a perfect example of why. On the track were two sprinting superpowers with completely different identities. For United States, the baton was carried by a new era lineup built around individual stars like Gabby and Sha'Carri Richardson, athletes known not only for raw speed, but for the ability to perform under global pressure. Their presence instantly raised expectations. When the USA steps onto the relay track, anything less than gold is considered failure. Across the lane stood Jamaica, the nation that turned the 4x100 into an art form. Jamaica's sprint dynasty isn't built on one name, it's built on generations of relay mastery. Clean exchanges, perfect spacing, and athletes raised in a system where the baton matters as much as the finish line. Every Jamaican relay team carries history with it. This wasn't just a race for a medal. It was a battle for narrative control. For the USA, it was about proving that individual dominance can translate into collective precision. For Jamaica, it was about defending a legacy, showing that no matter who lines up, the system holds. The field was packed with elite sprinters, athletes capable of sub-11 speed on the curve and explosive acceleration on the anchor leg. One bad handoff could erase years of preparation. One perfect exchange could win everything. That's what makes this event so important. In less than 42 seconds, careers are validated or questioned. Trust is tested. Chemistry is exposed. And unlike individual races, there's no hiding, one mistake belongs to everyone. As the teams settled into their marks, the tension wasn't about who was fast. Everyone there was fast. The question was simple. Who could stay perfect when perfection was the only option? And once the gun went off, the real story of this relay began to unfold. As the teams walked onto the track, the expectations were already heavy, especially around the first leg, where relay races are often quietly won or lost. For Gabby and Sha'Carri Richardson, this wasn't just about speed. It was about proving that the United States could finally match Jamaica not only in raw talent, but in execution. The talk before the race centered on chemistry. Could this US lineup stay clean under pressure? Could their handoffs hold up when everything was moving at maximum velocity? On the other side, Jamaica entered with a different kind of expectation, quiet confidence. Jamaica's relay teams are always assumed to be sharp from the first exchange. There's an unspoken belief that no matter who's on the roster, the baton will move smoothly. That reputation alone adds pressure to everyone else in the race. As the starter raised the gun, the mood shifted from anticipation to tension. The opening leg is about control, staying aggressive without burning too much energy, setting up the exchange zone perfectly. Every athlete knew that the first 100 meters wouldn't decide the race outright, but it could tilt it dramatically. The expectation was that Jamaica would come out clean and composed, immediately asserting rhythm. For the US, the hope, and the demand, was precision. No panic. No hesitation. Just clean acceleration into the first handoff. And as the gun fired, the race began exactly where these relays are always tested. Not at the finish line, but in the first exchange zone, where confidence meets reality and where early momentum is either secured or quietly lost. From the very first strides, the race exploded into motion like a coiled spring finally released. The opening leg was razor-sharp. The US starter launched aggressively, pushing the curve with controlled power, knowing the real test was coming fast, the first exchange. Jamaica, true to its reputation, looked smooth rather than frantic. No wasted motion. No panic. Just rhythm. By the time the runners hit the exchange zone, the gap between the two teams was barely visible, exactly the kind of start Jamaica loves. The first baton pass told its own story. Jamaica's exchange was fluid, almost effortless, the baton floating from hand to hand. The US pass was fast, explosive even, but tighter, more daring. A moment where everything could have unraveled, but it didn't. The baton stayed alive, and Team USA stayed in the fight. On the back straight, speed took over. This is where raw sprinting power matters most. The American leg dug in hard, driving knees, chasing every fraction of a meter. Jamaica responded calmly, refusing to rush, trusting their system. The crowd could feel it, two philosophies colliding at full speed. Then came the second exchange, often the most dangerous. Bodies flying into the zone, athletes screaming for the baton without ever turning their heads. Jamaica nailed it again, clean, confident, almost clinical. The US exchange was slightly wider, slightly riskier, but still intact. No dropped baton. No disqualification. Just pure pressure building with every step. As the anchor legs prepared, the stadium noise rose. This was the moment everyone waited for, the clash of star power. For Team USA, the baton found its way to Sha'Carri Richardson, explosive and fearless. Jamaica's anchor surged forward with that familiar, unshakable composure that has defined their sprint dynasty for generations. Down the home straight, it was chaos and beauty at once. Arms pumping, faces tight with effort. Every step amplified. The gap shifted by inches, not meters. The finish line rushed toward them as the race turned into a test of nerve as much as speed. Nothing was decided early. Nothing was given away. Every exchange, every stride, every breath mattered, and by the final meters, it was clear this wasn't just a relay. It was a statement race, one where dominance was challenged and legacy was put under real pressure. When you break this relay down athlete by athlete, the contrast between Team USA and Jamaica becomes even sharper, not just in speed, but in identity, mentality, and execution style. For the United States, everything revolves around power and depth. Gabby Thomas brings controlled speed and technical precision. She isn't just fast, she's efficient. Her stride stays composed under pressure, making her ideal for either the curve or the back straight, where stability matters as much as raw pace. Gabby's strength is consistency. She rarely fades, rarely panics, and almost always delivers her leg exactly as planned. Then there's Sha'Carri Richardson, the emotional and explosive core of Team USA. Sha'Carri is momentum. When she gets the baton, the energy shifts instantly. Her acceleration is violent, her top speed relentless, and her presence alone forces rivals to react. She thrives in chaos, loud stadiums, tight margins, high stakes. But that same aggression demands precision in the exchange zone, where milliseconds decide everything. Jamaica, on the other hand, is built on relay culture. This isn't just about individual stars, it's about continuity. For years, their system has produced athletes who grow up understanding baton mechanics as second nature. Their runners don't sprint into exchanges, they glide into them, trusting timing over instinct. At the heart of that legacy stands figures like Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, whose influence goes far beyond her own leg. Even when not anchoring, her presence defines Jamaica's approach, calm, ruthless, and technically flawless. Jamaican sprinters rarely look rushed. They look inevitable. Comparing the two teams directly, the US often holds the edge in individual speed peaks, slightly faster splits, more explosive finishes. Jamaica counters with baton security and rhythm, minimizing losses where races are often won or lost. One team attacks the race. The other controls it. Physically, both squads are elite. Mentally, they operate differently. Team USA races with urgency, proving something, reclaiming something. Jamaica races with confidence, defending something they believe already belongs to them. And that contrast is exactly what makes this matchup so volatile, because when pure speed collides with perfected chemistry, the outcome is never decided until the very last exchange. As the final exchange unfolds, the race reaches its most unforgiving moment, the point where everything earned over 3 legs is either protected or erased in seconds. The baton is no longer just an object, it becomes pressure, history, and expectation all at once. For Team USA, the anchor leg is about maximum velocity under chaos. With Sha'Carri Richardson driving down the straight, the strategy is clear: stretch the race, force Jamaica to chase, and turn the final 80 meters into a pure sprint duel. Her turnover is aggressive, her posture leaning forward, chasing separation rather than control. The crowd feels it. This is an anchor running to break the race open. Jamaica's anchor responds differently. Instead of panic, there's composure. Their final runner doesn't rush the first steps, she builds, trusting that the earlier exchanges kept them within striking distance. This is where Jamaica's relay identity shows its full power. No wasted motion, no drifting lanes, no hesitation. Every stride looks rehearsed, almost calm, even as the finish line approaches. In the final 30 meters, the race tightens. The gap, whether real or perceived, begins to shrink. Arms tighten. Faces harden. This is where medals are decided not by season's bests, but by fatigue tolerance and decision-making under oxygen debt. Team USA's raw speed keeps them dangerous to the line. Jamaica's efficiency keeps them intact when others begin to unravel. As the finish is crossed, the outcome reflects the entire race, not just the last straight. If the US wins, it's because their speed finally overwhelmed the margins. If Jamaica prevails, it's because they protected every centimeter from the first exchange onward. No fluke. No surprise. Just execution under fire. And that's the truth of this final. The winner isn't decided in the anchor leg alone, but the anchor leg reveals who truly owned the race.